let's go through a couple of the ups and downs of wigs. So the very first, most should be the most obvious, and I think people think they should go one way or the other, human or synthetic. And there's
Sure. Okay.
no,
Quality wise. Yeah.
and again, you could say which is better. Well, there's not a better necessarily. So I would say in most cases, synthetic is the better choice. And people would think, why would that be better? Because synthetic is cheaper than human, no doubt about that. But very often a person getting a wig needs a wig. And so then let's separate again into two big categories. Medical or just hair loss. You could do a third category, fun. So, Halloween, dress up, reasons to just change your hair for fun, incognito, anything that you're just trying to change your look or color for fun. Usually these fantasy colors are going to look more vibrant and wild and crazy and really stand out in a synthetic fiber. But then a curl is going to hold better in a synthetic fiber also. Now, listen, they have some low end, high end. Every word I say, I think it's like, God, there's so many separations. We say synthetic. Immediately, I know what a lot of people think is, old cheap. My grandma used to wear that. Not necessarily. Well, yes, she probably did. But wigs, when you go to synthetic now, they can be, let's just take a little bit of history of the wig real quick. The original wig was made to cover the whole head, right? And the inside was some flowery cap. I don't know why they put flowers, but if you look at the inside, it looks like flowers. And
because it was like a doily. They were knitting
I was
it.
getting ready to say doily, right? So it's some kind of cap that fits the head, and then they would attach wefts to that cap mostly. And then on top, wherever they connected the wefts, they didn't want you to be able to see through to the base and see the wefts. So they put these short, curly hairs. They're real fuzzy and curly, and it made this bush look next to the scalp. But at the time, a very popular hairstyle was a lot of teasing. They were teasing, and making that kind of cushion. They'd even call it a cushion at the scalp, and then styling the hair on top of that. And so the bigger, fluffier look was popular, so that kind of worked. Well, wigs have come a long way. They have lace tops in this area. Like you can have all that old-fashioned stuff on most of the wig to save money and time and energy making it. And then where it matters, the lace top can have no short curly hairs. And you can part it, and it's got a little lace top or skin top or natural top. And you part it, and it looks like the hair's growing right out the system, like it's growing right out of your head. It's almost semi-transparent. So if you're really bald and it goes up against your skin, you see your color skin through the part. So wigs can really look good if you get a little higher end synthetic system wig. But then the synthetic hair itself, compared to cheaper synthetic and expensive synthetic, the older synthetics were larger and shinier. And so they make them finer, smaller, and duller matte finish, so it looks more like hair. So good that sometimes we pick off the shelf, and I have to ask, because the people who work the wigs more often, they just know where they are. I say, is that human or synthetic? I can't even tell sometimes. It looks that freaking good. So then they're like, oh no, this is synthetic. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even tell anymore. So if I can't tell, and I can tell most synthetic hairs, but not all anymore. So if hair can look that freaking good, why would you not use synthetic? Because it's a man-made fiber that can be mass-produced, so the price can be less, and the color can be so consistent. That's why it's so hard for us in the extension world to get the exact same color all the time, because it has to be colored. And every color hair takes color a little differently. So you have to have a perfection in the artistry to leave that color a little longer, a little shorter, a little stronger, a little weaker, to try to achieve the same thing at the end. With plastic fibers, it's so consistent, it's just stupid easy. And so if you buy a wig and you like it, you can buy another one, and it literally can be identical in every way. And so then if you cut it, it's going to be a little bit different, but the curl will hold. So if you get caught in the rain, it will hold so well that it looks a little unnatural. Like, why aren't you wet? Because the synthetic fibers barely absorb water. They don't. They just trap water between the fibers, which kind of makes it look like it's holding water or wet. But that's one of the advantages. It doesn't get dirty because it's not porous. It shampoos, rinses, dries, just shake it, and the curls are right back. So let's take that other category. If somebody, and I'm running through a lot of stuff real quick because I know it's a lot to cover. If a woman, one of the more common reasons we live, our business is right across the street from a cancer center. And so sometimes people come in here, and depending on what's going on, but I'll give you a real common one is a mastectomy. Any kind of surgery in this area affects all the muscles from the shoulders to the upper torso. And so lifting your arms is hard for a few weeks.
Sure.
So you don't want a human hair wig that's going to fall and need to be styled, and your arms need to be up here, combing, brushing, styling, curling iron, flat ironing. So that's when synthetic, if you can just muster up just enough strength to get that thing on, you're done. And it looks good. And you don't have to do no muss, no fuss. You don't have a lot of fussing with the hair and styling. That's a huge advantage. But then if I do have all my strength and it looks that good and it's synthetic, why would I spend the money on human? I can still not be sick and get a good looking synthetic wig.
I think there's a heavy connotation to hearing the word synthetic. Definitely. And having that be synonymous with the word fake.
Low quality.
Or low quality.
Fake,
I think people get hung up on it's got to be human hair by default. Right. Automatically that equals quality or really good, That's
right.
And it's not necessarily always the case. And just like with the synthetic as well, too. You have, like you're explaining, there are different grades, and the technology is improving so much. So for medical purposes, like you're describing, I mean, that is such a great option.
You and I have a good friend whose wife's going through some of this, and she thought she wanted human, and I sent her 5 synthetics and said, send the ones back that you don't want. And I think for the price of 5, she could have got 1 human. So instead of 1 human, I got a few different colors. I got a petite and a larger to see if her head size would fit one better than the other, and a few different variations in color, length, and style. And she kept them all.